Joe here at Reverb. Today we are learning riffs in the key of Keith Richards. 3 iconic riffs and an open G tuning that Keith Richards used. Keith Richards is a guitar player for a band called the Rolling Stones. And you can check them out at therollingstones.com. I think they're also on MySpace. Check them out if you haven't heard them. But really, what else is there to say about Keith Richards? One of the most iconic guitar players of all time. You know who he is. Let's talk about his guitar playing style. Today we're going to be playing through some late 60s, early 70s Stones riffs. At that time, Keith played some Les Pauls, he played an ES-330, he played a lot of tellies. In the early 70s, he had a 50s telly given to him as a birthday gift on his 27th birthday from Eric Clapton. He put a humbucker in the neck slot, and he actually wired it upside down, just like this. This here is a early 70s telly custom with a humbucker in the neck slot, wired upside down. In an effort to complete that authentic tone that we're going for here, we've plugged into a early 70s Fender Vibrolux. Keith used twins. And as you know, Keith is a no frills, no fancy stuff guitar player. He didn't use a lot of pedals. However, he is known to have used a tube screamer. So we have plugged in an Ibanez tube screamer with the gain a little bit up just to push it a little bit over the edge. If you're watching on YouTube, click here for our interactive tablature page if you'd like to follow along for tablature notation. Okay, for the most important part, the tuning. Keith was one of the first adopters of an open G tuning in popular rock and roll music. This open G tuning was so integral to Keith's style that not only did it spark so many of those Stones classic riffs, but it's also now widely known as the Keith tuning. So, let's get this guitar into Keith tuning. Step 1, take your low E string and get rid of it. With the other 5 strings, they will be as follows. The A string goes to a G, the D string stays, the G string stays, the B string stays, and the high E goes to a D. So you're just changing the A down to a G and the high E down to a D. What this tuning does is it creates an open chord, an open G chord. Very open. So, by that logic, you bar anywhere on all strings, and you have other chords just by the bar. All right, let's learn it. Before we dive in, something really simple that we're going to take note of. The move that Keith made so often in so many of these songs is so simple. Barring across any fret, and then putting this shape on top. On the B string, 1 fret above the bar with your index finger, and on the D string, 2 frets above the bar with your ring finger. And you get this move. We're going to be doing that shape so many times in the next few minutes that we're going to have to come up with a name for it instead of just saying that shape. So we'll just call it the Keith shape. Okay, for Brown Sugar, we're going to start up on the 12th fret bar, and we're going to put that shape above the bar, and then we're going to lift it back off. Just like that, so we're lifting off to the bar on the 12th fret. Then we're going to the 5th fret, and then we're hitting it twice, and then putting the shape up above it, and then going back to the bar. Just like that. Simple. For the next part, we're going to the 8th fret. We're going to bar, but we're not going to want to grab all the strings. We're not going to grab the high E string on this. We're going to focus on these lower meteor strings. We're going to go 2 frets above the bar with a ring finger on the G string, and then back off. Back to the 5th fret with that same shape we were doing before. Then we're going down to the 1st fret. Same move we made up here on the 8th fret. We're just grabbing that 2 frets above the bar on the G string. From there you go bar on the 3rd fret with the same shape above it. And then up to the 5th fret. Keith shape, and then you repeat that twice. So that whole second section of that is Okay, so let's play the whole thing. We'll do that first riff 4 times, and then that second riff twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, riff number 2, Honky Tonk Women. Now, it's important to note here that Keith is using a lot of different rhythms within these chords. So we're going to basically simplify that and approximate a lot of those rhythms while still teaching a couple of the riffs that Keith used in between those chords. And hopefully that will be a nice framework for you to develop into your own style. For this riff, we're going to go back to our bridge pickup for more of a honky tonk tone. Also, another little trick. I think Keith plays finger style for most of this until the chorus when he's driving away at it. So keeping the pick cradled in here is a good idea so you can have it handy. Now, keep in mind that opening riff, we've seen Keith nowadays using slides on that riff rather than bends. But today we're going to go for that 60s style bending because that's what we're hearing on the record. So, we're still in our open G tuning, Keith tuning. Okay, let's play that riff pretty slow to try to identify the rhythms a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then up to speed. 2, 3, 4. Okay, from there we're going to the 4 chord, which as you know already is on the 5th fret with the Keith shape. And then we've got a cool lick that happens. I like to use my pinky up on the 8th fret of the B string, sliding down to the 6th fret, and then to the 3rd fret while playing the open G along with those as well. Then we got 2nd fret with the Keith shape and a pull off. And then 7th fret for the 5 chord. Keith shape, pull off. Then we got a cool little figure here. Open A string, and then sliding from 2 to 4. Open G, sliding back down to 2, and open. Okay, and then up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, for the 3rd riff, Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? Okay, Can't You Hear Me Knockin'? Everybody in there, open G, Keith tuning? Good. Opening riff from 10th fret on the bottom 2 strings, the A and D strings. and that's before the change that you love. 2 frets down, 5th fret. Now this figure, I like to use pinky and ring finger, 7th fret on the top 2 strings, and then pull those off, and then the B and G strings, playing once, and then take them off to the bar as well. So we've got, and then back up to, and now we're into the verse, right? Awesome. So let's play it all so far. 1, 2. Okay, so now we're into the verse. In the verse, we're going to introduce a new chord, the easiest chord of them all. And we're going to learn a couple more Keith-style licks that he kind of splices in there. Cool. So we're at this. Going to open. The first time it goes to open, Keith throws this riff in there. Just back to that figure. So between the sliding here and all the different combinations, as well as the bending you can do there, like at the beginning, and in addition to these low type of notes on your D and A string, with that open G in there too, or the open low G. Takes a minute to get used to what notes you're actually playing when you're in the open tuning, but there's some cool, just Keith-esque stuff, a lot of stuff for you to explore there. All right, that's our first exploration into the key of Keith. Thanks for being a part of that with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a lot about open G tuning. Hope you find a use for your low E string after you take it off your guitar. Keep watching for our lesson vids. There's tons more to come. We'll see you next time.